chosen one. This is not the moment to explain yourself, defend yourself, or rush to make people understand what God is doing in your life. This is the moment to stay quiet, to breathe, to steady your heart, and to let heaven fight battles that your mouth was never meant to fight. There are seasons when speaking feels powerful, but there are also seasons when silence is the real sign of strength. You are in one of those seasons now. God is not asking you to be silent because you are weak. He is asking you to be silent because there is something precious happening around you. Something fragile in its early stages, something holy that must not be exposed to every eye and every opinion before its time. You have already felt the pressure to speak. You have felt the urge to answer the people who misread you, the temptation to correct the ones who assume things about you, and the fire rising in your chest when you know you could say something sharp, accurate, and unforgettable. But that is exactly why this message is reaching you. Your words carry weight. Your voice moves things. What comes out of you does not fall empty to the ground. And because of that, you cannot afford to speak carelessly in a season where heaven is arranging details you cannot yet see. What feels like restraint is actually protection. What feels like delay is actually wisdom. What feels like being overlooked is often God hiding you on purpose. There are people around you who think silence means confusion. They think if you are not speaking, you must not know what to say. They think if you are not reacting, you must not notice what is happening. But they are wrong. Your silence is not emptiness. Your silence is discernment. Your silence is a wall. Your silence is a gate that not everyone has permission to enter. Some people only gain access to your next season through your loose lips. Some people only find the weak point through your need to be understood. Some people only know where to aim because you showed them the map with your own words. That is why God is pulling you back. Not to punish you, but to preserve you. You have said enough in past seasons. You have explained your heart. You have clarified your intentions. You have tried to make peace by using words. Tried to create understanding by giving more details. Tried to stop conflict by opening yourself wider. And what happened? In many moments, the more you said, the more drained you became. The more you explained, the less you were heard. The more you opened your mouth, the more others felt entitled to your inner world. God has let you see that pattern so you would recognize this truth. Not every situation is healed by conversation. Not every attack deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding is your assignment to correct. There is a holy discipline in saying less. There is power in letting your spirit settle before your mouth moves. There is wisdom in refusing to announce what is still becoming. Right now, your life may feel as if something is shifting beneath the surface. You can sense change. You can sense movement. You can sense that one chapter is closing and another is trying to open. That kind of threshold makes people talk too much. They start announcing plans too early. They start revealing burdens that should have stayed in prayer. They start handing sacred things to casual people. But you are being called higher. God is teaching you how to carry revelation without leaking it. How to walk through transition without broadcasting every detail. How to hold your peace while heaven secures your next step. Do not mistake silence for passivity. This is not about shrinking back. This is not about fear. This is not about losing your voice. This is about mastering your voice so that your spirit leads it instead of your emotions. You do not need to answer every accusation. You do not need to match every energy. You do not need to prove your innocence to people committed to misunderstanding you. Some battles grow weaker when ignored. Some doors stay open only when you stop arguing outside them. Some traps break the moment you refuse to step into the conversation at all. Silence can be obedience, And obedience can look very quiet before it looks victorious. Even now, there is a part of you that wants immediate release. You want to say what you feel. You want to send the message. You want to make the call. You want to let them know exactly what they did, exactly how you see it, exactly why you are done being treated lightly. But listen carefully. Do not do it. No matter the price, this is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. God is interrupting your impulse because one emotional sentence can create a consequence that takes months to untangle. One careless disclosure can expose what heaven wanted covered. One premature reaction can pull you out of alignment with what God is quietly building for you. This is where your maturity begins to shine. Not when you have the most to say, but when you have every reason to speak and still choose restraint. Not when everybody agrees with you, but when nobody understands you and you remain anchored anyway. The silence God is asking from you is not forever. It is for this moment. It is for this crossing. It is for this delicate space between what was and what will be. You are being taught how to let your peace become louder than your panic. You are being taught how to let God's hand speak where your mouth used to rush in. You are being taught how to carry authority without noise. So settle your spirit. Let the urge pass. Let the pressure break off of you. Let people think what they want for now. Let heaven finish what earth cannot yet recognize. Comment 144 if you are choosing holy restraint in this season. You do not lose by being quiet when God has told you to be still. You do not fall behind by refusing to perform for human approval. You are being covered. You are being positioned. You are being strengthened in private so that when the time comes, you will not speak from pain, but from power. And until that hour arrives, your silence will be your shield. Chosen one. One of the greatest dangers in this season is not always open conflict. Sometimes it is the pressure to explain yourself before God gives permission. Sometimes it is the urge to reveal what should still be covered. Sometimes it is the need to answer questions that were never assigned to your mouth. You may feel that speaking will bring relief, but there are moments when relief is a trap. There are moments when the sentence you want to release becomes the doorway through which confusion, resistance, and delay begin to enter. That is why God is telling you to stay silent. He is not withholding your voice because your voice lacks value. He is guarding your future because your voice carries weight. Many people do not understand this kind of silence. They think if something is true, it should be spoken immediately. They think if God is moving, it should be announced. They think if you are questioned, you should answer every detail. But heaven does not operate by human impatience. God often protects what is precious by hiding it. He often secures what is holy by covering it for a season. He often builds in secret before he allows anything to stand in public. You are learning that not every truth is meant for early exposure. Not every burden is meant for public language. Not every answer belongs to the people who keep asking. This is where Esther walks quietly beside your story. Esther did not rise in a loud season. She rose in a hidden one. She carried identity, purpose, and a future assignment that others around her could not yet see. She was placed in an environment where many eyes watched, many voices competed, and many outcomes were uncertain. Yet one of the most important parts of her early journey was not what she said. It was what she did not say. Before the palace, before the favor, before the bold moment that would later define her name, there was restraint. There was hiddenness. There was silence under instruction. Esther was not silent because she had nothing in her. She was silent because timing mattered. She was not empty. She was covered. She was not passive. She was being preserved. There is a difference, and you need to feel that difference in your spirit right now. The silence God is placing over you is not the silence of abandonment. It is the silence of preparation. It is the silence that keeps the wrong people from touching what God has not yet unveiled. It is the silence that protects identity until identity is strong enough to stand in daylight without being distorted. Esther chapter 2 verse 20 says, Esther had not revealed her people or family, for Mordecai had charged her not to reveal it. That verse is simple, but it carries deep wisdom. Esther had truth in her, yet she did not release it before the right moment. She had a story, a background, an identity, and a destiny connected to all of it. Yet she stayed within the boundary she had been given. Why does that matter so much for you now? Because the wrong revelation at the wrong time can stir resistance before your assignment is ready. It can attract pressure before your footing is secure. It can expose a sacred process to people who have no grace to understand it. You may be in a season where people keep trying to pull information out of you. They ask what is changing. They ask what God is doing. They ask where you are going, what you are planning, why you have become different, why your energy feels guarded, why your answers have grown shorter. Some ask out of curiosity. Some ask out of concern. Some ask because they can sense movement and want access before they deserve it. But sensing movement does not grant permission. Curiosity is not covenant, and questions do not automatically require disclosure. Esther teaches you that silence can be holy strategy. It can be the difference between surviving a season and being swallowed by it. It can be the difference between being positioned and being prematurely exposed. Imagine what would have happened if everything had been revealed before the appointed time. Imagine the opposition that might have awakened too early. Imagine the schemes that could have formed before favor had finished opening its doors. God knew the timing. God knew the order. God knew that hiddenness was not a denial of purpose, but a path toward it. You need that same wisdom now. There are things alive in you that cannot yet be explained without being mishandled. There are shifts in your spirit that should stay in prayer rather than conversation. There are details about your becoming that are safer with God than with the crowd. The enemy does not always fight through obvious attack. Sometimes he fights through premature exposure. He pushes you to talk before you are anchored. He pushes you to explain before you are healed. He pushes you to reveal before you are established. Then what should have grown in peace starts struggling under the weight of human opinion. So let Esther remind you that silence is not weakness. It is often the womb of deliverance. It is often the chamber where courage is formed. It is often the place where identity is protected until the day arrives when God says, "Now speak." And when that day comes, your words will not come from panic, insecurity, or pressure, and they will come from alignment. Until then, do not force language where God is commanding restraint. What He hides with purpose. What He covers with wisdom. Stay quiet long enough for timing to become your shield, because what is protected in silence can later change everything. And as you hold that silence, something deeper begins to settle inside you. You stop feeling the need to be known by everyone, because you start understanding that being known by God is enough for this hour. Esther did not lose her purpose by waiting. She was refined by waiting, strengthened by waiting, and positioned by waiting. In the same way, your restraint is not closing doors. It is keeping the wrong hands off the right future. So do not fear the quiet place. God is there, arranging what you cannot yet explain, and protecting what will only make sense when the appointed moment finally arrives. Chosen one. One of the hardest parts of this calling is that your silence will often be misunderstood by people who only respect what they can quickly interpret. When you stop explaining, they may call you distant. When you stop reacting, they may call you cold. When you stop volunteering every detail of your inner world, they may decide you have changed in ways they do not like. But what they call distance is often discernment. What they call coldness is often healing. What they call change is often the evidence that God is separating you from patterns that once kept you small. This is the tension of being set apart. You are not trying to be difficult. You are not trying to appear mysterious. You are not trying to create confusion around your life. You are simply learning that not everybody can walk with you into the next thing God is doing. Some people were only comfortable with the version of you that explained everything, tolerated everything, absorbed everything, and kept giving access even when that access was mishandled. Now that your spirit is growing quieter and wiser, they feel the difference. They cannot read you the way they once did, and that unsettles them. You need to understand that misunderstanding is not always a sign that you are on the wrong path. Sometimes it is proof that your life is no longer being shaped by the expectations of people who were never assigned to define you. There are seasons when clarity with God creates confusion with others. There are seasons when obedience will make you look strange to those who are more comfortable with noise than with depth. This does not mean you should become harsh or proud. It means you must become steady. You must stop measuring your alignment by how easily others approve of it. Esther knew this quiet kind of separation. She lived in a space where she could not reveal everything at once, and that hiddenness surely made her difficult to fully understand. People could see her presence, but they could not see the full story. They could observe her poise, but they could not yet grasp the burden attached to her life. She moved through rooms where others saw only the surface, while God was writing something far deeper underneath. That is how your life may feel right now. People see fragments. God sees the whole pattern. People judge the silence. God knows what the silence is protecting. And because people do not know the whole pattern, they may build false conclusions. They may say you have become secretive. They may think you are pulling away out of pride. They may assume your quietness means you are hiding something selfish, when in truth you are guarding something sacred. This is why emotional maturity matters so much in this season. You cannot keep interrupting your obedience just to rescue your image in the eyes of those who do not have spiritual discernment. If God has told you to be still, then being misread for a while may be part of the cost of staying covered. That cost can hurt more than you expect. It is painful to know your heart is pure while other people assign motives that do not belong to you. It is painful to feel yourself outgrowing old ways of relating while others accuse you of becoming someone else. But chosen one, that pain is not empty. It is teaching you how to stand without constant reassurance from the crowd. It is teaching you how to be rooted in what God says when human voices become inconsistent. It is teaching you that peace is more valuable than being perfectly understood by everyone around you. This is also where your compassion must stay alive. Not everyone who misunderstands you is evil. Some are simply unfamiliar with the version of you that God is forming now. They knew your old patterns. They knew your old availability. They knew the old rhythm where they could reach into your life without boundaries. When that changes, confusion is natural. So do not become bitter. Do not make a throne out of isolation. Just stay wise. Stay kind, but stay guarded. Stay gracious, but stay obedient. Let your silence remain clean, not poisoned by resentment, because clean silence carries the fragrance of heaven. In this season, your life may preach more effectively than your explanations ever could. The way you carry peace under pressure will speak. The way you refuse to descend into unnecessary arguments will speak. The way you keep walking with dignity while others keep guessing will speak. And over time, Some who misunderstood you will realize that your quietness was not rebellion. It was refinement. It was not rejection. It was reverence for what God was doing inside you. So when the loneliness of being set apart starts pressing on your heart, remember Esther. Remember that hiddenness did not erase her purpose. Silence did not reduce her worth. Being partially misunderstood did not stop the hand of God from positioning her exactly where she needed to be. The same is true for you. Let this season shape you instead of hardening you. And if this message is speaking to your spirit, take a quiet moment to like, share, and subscribe so this kind of encouragement can keep reaching you. And if you feel led, you can also support through the donation link in the description. For now, keep walking softly, because even when others misread the quiet, God still recognizes the ones He has set apart. And in time, the people who once questioned your quietness will see that it was never emptiness. It was strength under control. It was wisdom learning how to breathe. It was obedience choosing peace over performance. You do not need to force your story into rooms that were never prepared to honor it. God knows how to vindicate what He has shaped in secret. He knows how to make the fruit visible without your striving. So keep your heart soft, your spirit clear, and your steps steady. The ones set apart are often misunderstood before they are recognized, but heaven never loses sight of its own. Chosen one, by now you are beginning to see that silence is not only about self-control, it is also about spiritual awareness. There are conversations that look harmless on the surface, yet they carry a strange weight underneath. There are questions that sound casual, but they are reaching for access. There are moments when people say they simply want to know how you are doing, yet your spirit feels unsettled while the words are still hanging in the air. You have felt that before. You answered too quickly, and later you realized something left you. Your peace shifted. Your focus weakened. Your heart became heavy. That is because not every conversation is neutral. Some people do not realize that spiritual warfare often enters quietly. It does not always come through dramatic opposition. Sometimes it comes through repeated probing, subtle pressure, emotional bait, or the constant pull to reveal what God has asked you to hold. The enemy understands that if he cannot stop the plan directly, he will try to draw it into the wrong atmosphere. He will try to make you speak in the wrong room. He will try to move you from discernment into overexposure. He will try to make you careless with what should still be covered. That is why your silence matters so much right now. It keeps you from opening doors that wisdom would have left closed. This is part of what Esther had to learn while moving through dangerous spaces with grace. She was not only dealing with visible circumstances. She was surrounded by systems, agendas, hidden motives, and shifting loyalties. She could not afford to speak as though every listener was safe. She could not afford to treat every setting as spiritually clean. Her restraint was not weakness. It was survival joined with wisdom. She understood, even if gradually, that timing and environment mattered. A truth released in the wrong atmosphere can be twisted before it ever reaches its purpose. That is something you need to carry deeply. Not every ear is built to receive what God has whispered to you. Not every listener has the character to handle your vulnerability. Not every question deserves the treasure of a truthful answer. There are people who listen with love. And there are people who listen for leverage. There are people who hear with compassion. And there are people who hear with hidden appetite. You may not always know which is which by appearances alone. That is why discernment must lead your mouth. You do not need paranoia. You need spiritual sobriety. You need calm alertness. You need to notice what your spirit is saying before your emotions rush forward. There were surely moments in Esther's journey when the pressure to speak too soon could have cost everything. Yet she remained measured. She held back until the appointed time. She did not reveal everything just because she had the opportunity. She understood that access is not the same as assignment. Just because a door is open does not mean every word should walk through it. Just because someone asks does not mean heaven is permitting disclosure. This is where many chosen ones lose peace. They confuse opportunity to speak with permission to speak. But wisdom knows the difference. You may have been wounded in past seasons by trusting the wrong voice, telling too much, or explaining yourself to those who had no intention of honoring your heart. And now God is retraining you. He is teaching you how to pause before answering. He is teaching you how to sense when a conversation is draining rather than healing. He is teaching you that silence can stop a battle before it grows. You are not being rude when you protect what is sacred. You are not being distant when you refuse to feed every question. You are becoming mature enough to recognize that your peace is worth guarding. There is also another side to this. Silence helps you hear. When you stop rushing to explain, you begin to notice more. You notice tone. You notice patterns. You notice the difference between genuine concern and disguised intrusion. You notice where God is giving you peace and where He is giving you caution. Esther's strength was not only in the words she later spoke with courage, it was also in the restraint that allowed her to arrive at the right moment with clarity. Hiddenness sharpened her. Silence preserved her. Discernment positioned her. So do not despise this season. God is making you wiser in the unseen places. He is teaching you that spiritual warfare is not always won by louder words. Sometimes it is won by closed lips, a guarded heart, and a spirit that stays anchored under pressure. The wrong conversation can scatter your focus, but holy restraint keeps your inner world protected. And when your mind is protected, you think more clearly, pray more steadily, and move with greater peace. That is why some people are drawn to tools like the Genius Wave or Genius Song, a 7-minute audio product described as using brainwave entrainment through sound to support focus, calm, mental clarity, creativity, and better rest. If that sounds helpful for this season, you can look for the official information in the description or pinned comment, and be careful with imitations or unofficial copies. Use only the official source if you decide to try it. Then return your heart to stillness, because your deepest covering will always remain the wisdom God is building within you. And as you grow in that kind of discernment, you begin to realize that silence is not emptiness at all. It is a listening place. It is where your spirit regains its balance after too many voices have tried to pull on you at once. It is where confusion starts to lose its grip and where God's wisdom becomes easier to recognize. Esther did not survive her season by saying everything she knew. She survived by knowing when to hold her peace and when to wait under God's covering. That same grace is being formed in you now. So let this become part of your strength. Step back from what feels noisy. Refuse the conversations that leave your soul restless. Pay attention to the moments when peace lifts and caution rises within you. That is not weakness. That is training. God is teaching you to protect your inner world before He entrusts you with greater outward responsibility. The more you honor that quiet leading, the more clearly you will recognize what belongs in your life and what does not. And in that clarity, your spirit will stop scattering itself. It will become steady, guarded, and deeply rooted in the wisdom that comes from above. Chosen one, while you are being asked to stay silent, it can sometimes feel as though nothing is happening. The outer world looks still. The answers do not arrive quickly. The people around you may not see any evidence of change. Even you may wonder whether this hidden season is truly accomplishing anything at all. But that is one of the deepest tests of faith. God often does his most precise work where there is the least public proof. He builds beneath the surface. He aligns what human eyes cannot trace. He arranges meetings, timing, favor, protection, and inner strength in places no one else can monitor. Silence becomes difficult because your flesh wants visible movement, but your spirit is being trained to trust the invisible hand of God. This is why hidden seasons are so holy. They strip away the need to be constantly affirmed by outcomes that everyone can see. They teach you how to trust God's process even when there is no applause, no explanation, and no immediate sign that the waiting is worth it. Esther lived inside that kind of mystery before the defining moment of her life arrived. Much of what mattered was happening behind the curtain. She was being positioned before she was publicly revealed as part of the answer. She was being preserved before she was called into courage. She was being prepared in hiddenness before history ever saw her step forward. That is how God works with many of his chosen ones. He does not always begin by displaying them. He often begins by covering them. He lets them pass through seasons that seem quiet on the outside but are full of sacred arrangement on the inside. During those seasons, it is easy to feel overlooked. It is easy to think that because your life is not loudly progressing, it must be standing still. But heaven does not measure progress the way people do. Growth in wisdom is progress. Healing in secret is progress. Restraint that keeps you from self-sabotage is progress. Learning not to speak before your time is progress. Becoming inwardly steady is progress. Esther could not see every thread God was weaving around her. She could not have fully known how every delay, every hidden lesson, every guarded step would eventually connect. Yet the hiddenness was not empty. God was shaping the conditions for a future moment that would require strength, clarity, and favor. In the same way, what feels hidden in your life right now is not wasted. The doors that have not opened, the explanations you have not been given, the quiet burden of waiting, the sense that something is happening but not yet visible. All of this may be part of God's deeper arrangement. Psalm chapter 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That command is not passive. It is not a call to despair. It is a call to trust the one who remains active even when you are still. Be still and know, not guess, not panic, not force. Know that while you are waiting, God is governing. Know that while you are hidden, God is handling what you cannot reach. Know that while you are resisting the urge to over-explain, God is preserving the shape of your future. Stillness is where false control begins to fall away, and confidence in God begins to deepen. There are moments in this season when you may be tempted to break the silence simply because silence feels too uncertain. You may want to talk, move, reveal, or react just to prove to yourself that something is happening. But do not confuse activity with alignment. Just because you can do something does not mean it is time to do it. Sometimes the hardest obedience is remaining in the place where God can keep arranging things without interference from your fear. Esther did not force her revelation before its hour. She remained where God had allowed her to be until the pattern became clear enough for the next step. This is where your maturity is deepening. You are learning to stop interrupting God's hidden work with anxious speech. You are learning that the silence is not a void, but a workshop. God is strengthening your patience, refining your motives, sharpening your discernment, and protecting your heart from rushing ahead of grace. Hiddenness is not humiliation when it is held in God's hands. It is cultivation. The root grows before the fruit appears. The foundation settles before the structure rises. The inner life becomes capable before the outer assignment expands. And this matters because when the time finally comes for you to move, speak, or step forward, you will not do so as someone desperate for approval. You will do so as someone who has been built in secret. That kind of person carries a different weight. They do not need to scramble for validation because they have already learned to rest under God's gaze. They do not speak from panic because silence has taught them how to hear. They do not collapse under pressure because hidden seasons have made them strong where no one was watching. So if this chapter feels quiet, do not fear it. God is not absent from the hidden place. He is especially present there. What you cannot yet explain may be the very place where He is aligning the next stage of your life. Esther's story reminds you that hiddenness can hold destiny, and silence can shelter preparation. Stay under that shelter a little longer. Let God work where only He can see. The day will come when what was arranged in silence begins to speak with unmistakable clarity. But for now, the unseen work is enough. It is holy, it is active, and it is carrying you farther than you realize. Chosen one. Silence becomes most difficult when it stops feeling like a suggestion and starts feeling like a test. It is one thing to be quiet when everything around you is calm. It is another thing to remain quiet when pressure rises, when misunderstandings increase, when you know you could say something that would instantly defend your name, expose the truth, or force people to recognize what they have done. That is where discipline begins to separate itself from impulse. That is where obedience stops being emotional and starts becoming spiritual. You are in a season where God is not only protecting you through silence, He is also measuring what your heart does with instruction. Can you obey when silence feels costly? Can you trust Him when restraint feels unfair? Can you stay still when everything in your flesh wants release? These are not small questions. They reveal whether you are being led by momentary feeling or by a deeper allegiance to the voice of God. Many people want the reward of obedience, but very few are willing to endure the tension that obedience creates before the reward appears. That is why this season matters more than you think. God is building discipline into your spirit. He is teaching you that not every justified reaction is a righteous one. He is teaching you that being correct is not the same as being called to respond. He is teaching you that the mouth must come under the authority of peace, not the heat of wounded emotion. This is not about becoming voiceless. It is about becoming governed. And a governed spirit carries a strength that noise can never imitate. Esther knew what it meant to live under that kind of discipline. Her life was not unfolding in a place of comfort where every impulse could be expressed without consequence. She was in a setting where timing mattered, posture mattered, and restraint mattered. If she had moved only by emotion, she could have destroyed the very path God was preparing. If she had acted from panic, she could have mistaken urgency for wisdom. But hidden within her story is the lesson that obedience often requires a person to hold themselves steady long before they understand the full outcome. There is something holy about that. God does not always give you every detail before He asks for your surrender. Sometimes He simply says, "Be still. Be quiet. Do not answer yet. Do not reveal that yet. Do not step into that argument. Do not try to fix this through explanation." In those moments, silence becomes a living offering. You place your need to control the outcome on the altar. You place your desire to be instantly understood on the altar. You place your pride, your frustration, and even your fear on the altar, and what remains is obedience. That offering is costly, but it is not wasted. Every time you choose restraint over reaction, something inside you grows stronger. Every time you refuse to speak from hurt, your spirit becomes more stable. Every time you obey the quiet instruction of God, your inner life becomes more trustworthy. This is how maturity forms, not in grand declarations, but in repeated moments where you could have moved in the flesh and chose instead to remain under the covering of wisdom. You may not realize it yet, but God is answering deeper prayers through this process. Perhaps you have prayed for greater clarity, greater peace, greater authority, greater usefulness in His hands. Those things do not usually arrive through comfort alone. They are formed through testing. They are formed when your will meets God's instruction and must decide whether to bend or resist. Silence in this season is one of those sacred testing grounds. It reveals what still needs healing. It reveals where pride still wants the final word. It reveals how much of your peace depends on human validation. And once those things are exposed, God can begin refining them. Esther's strength did not suddenly appear in the moment history remembers her for. It was being formed long before that moment. It was being formed in hiddenness, in waiting, in caution, in discipline, and in the willingness to follow instruction even when the larger picture was not yet visible. In the same way, your future strength is being formed right now in these quiet acts of obedience. Do not underestimate them. Heaven does not overlook the battles that never become public because you won them in silence. There are days when this discipline may feel lonely. No one applauds the message you did not send. No one celebrates the argument you refused to enter. No one sees the tears you swallowed, the explanations you buried, or the restraint it took to keep your mouth from moving ahead of your spirit. But God sees all of it. He sees the war in your inner world, and He honors the obedience that chooses peace over self-expression when peace is what He has commanded. Sometimes your greatest spiritual victories will be invisible to everyone except heaven, and that should encourage you. You are not failing because this feels hard. You are being trained because it matters. The very difficulty of restraint is proof that something deep is being transformed in you. God is not simply changing your behavior. He is reordering your reflexes. He is teaching you to pause where you once rushed, to pray where you once reacted, and to trust where you once forced outcomes through words. That kind of transformation takes time, but once it is rooted, it changes the whole atmosphere of your life. So remain faithful in this test. Let silence complete what it came to teach. Let obedience become stronger than your impulse to defend yourself. Let discipline turn into peace. And if this message is helping you stay steady in this season, you can like, share, and subscribe so more people who are walking through hidden battles can receive the same encouragement. And if you feel led to support this work, there is a donation option in the description. But more than anything, let this truth stay with you tonight. Every moment you obey God in silence, you are proving that your spirit is learning how to trust Him beyond emotion, beyond pressure, and beyond the need to be immediately understood. That is not weakness. That is consecration. That is the quiet strength of someone being prepared for greater things. Chosen one, by now you are beginning to understand that your silence is not only about what you are avoiding, it is also about what you are preserving. God is not merely keeping you from reckless speech. He is storing strength inside your words so that when the appointed moment comes, your voice will not scatter power in 10 directions. It will land where it must land. It will carry weight. It will release what heaven intended. This is why you have been told to be quiet first. Words are never more powerful than when they have been disciplined by silence. Many people speak as soon as emotion rises. They let frustration choose the timing, pain choose the tone, and insecurity choose the content. Then later they wonder why their words produced confusion instead of clarity. But you are being taught a higher way. God is showing you that words are not cheap. They are not casual dust in the air. They carry spirit, direction, memory, and consequence. They can heal, expose, build, shatter, warn, align, or release. Because your voice holds that kind of potential. Heaven is teaching you not to spend it wastefully. There is a reason some of your strongest moments have come after quiet ones. There is a reason the clearest sentence often arrives after you stop trying to manufacture it. Silence gathers the soul. Silence burns off panic. Silence brings motive into the light. When you remain still before God, your words stop coming from the need to win and start coming from the need to obey. That is when language becomes clean. That is when the voice becomes sharp without becoming cruel. That is when truth arrives with authority rather than with agitation. Esther's story shows you this with great beauty. Her voice did not become powerful because she used it constantly. Her voice became powerful because she did not waste it before the right time. Hiddenness trained her. Restraint protected her. Waiting purified her intent. So when the hour came for her to speak, her words were not random, emotional sparks. They were measured, courageous, and full of consequence. She did not arrive at that moment by accident. Silence had been storing weight inside her. Heaven had been preparing her voice for impact. You must see the same possibility in your own life. Perhaps you have felt frustrated because people have not heard you the way you wanted. Perhaps you have watched others talk loudly while your own spirit has been restrained. Perhaps you have wondered why God keeps telling you to hold back when you know you have something real to say. But what if the delay is not diminishing your voice? What if it is deepening it? What if God is making sure that when you finally speak, your words will not be ignored because they will carry the force of timing, truth, and tested character? Proverbs chapter 17, verse 27 says, "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even tempered." That verse does not praise silence for its own sake. It reveals the wisdom behind restraint. Knowledge and understanding do not rush. They are not frantic. They do not feel compelled to prove themselves every moment. They know that power increases when words are governed. A restrained mouth is not an empty mouth. It is a wise one. An even-tempered spirit is not a weak spirit. It is a trained one. This is why you must stop thinking that every strong feeling deserves immediate speech. Feeling deeply does not mean speaking quickly. In fact, some of the most dangerous words are true words spoken from an unhealed place. They may contain facts, but they do not carry God's timing. They may express pain accurately, but they release it in a way that wounds more than it redeems. God wants more for you than that. He wants your words to become instruments of precision, not weapons of overflow. He wants your mouth to serve purpose, not pressure. That kind of maturity changes everything. It means you no longer speak just to relieve yourself. You speak when the moment serves truth. You no longer answer every challenge just because you can. You answer when wisdom opens the door. You no longer reveal your entire heart to every curious listener. You share what is fitting, when it is fitting, and with whom it is fitting. This is not manipulation, it is stewardship. You are becoming a steward of language, a keeper of timing, a guardian of what your voice can release. Esther had to become that kind of steward. When she finally opened her mouth in the moment history remembers, her words mattered because they were not wasted in all the moments before. Her speech carried courage because silence had already conquered panic. Her voice carried clarity because hiddenness had already burned away confusion. And that is what God is forming in you now. He is storing strength in your words by teaching you when not to use them. He is increasing the authority of your voice by delivering it from impulse. So do not despise the quiet place. Your words are being seasoned there. Your motives are being purified there. Your spirit is learning how to let peace govern expression. One day, the moment will come when God says speak, and when that moment arrives, you will not sound like someone reaching for attention. You will sound like someone carrying weight. Until then, let silence keep doing its holy work. Let it gather force beneath your language. Let it train your mouth to move only with wisdom. What God stores in restraint, He can later release with astonishing power. Chosen one, there are moments when silence is no longer just a discipline. It becomes a rescue. It becomes the hand of God pulling you back from a sentence, a reaction, a confrontation, or a disclosure that could cost far more than you realize in the moment. This is why you must pay attention when you feel that inner check, that holy interruption, that sudden weight pressing against your impulse to speak. It is not always hesitation. It is not always fear. Sometimes it is divine mercy standing in the doorway of your mouth, refusing to let destruction pass through. You have likely felt that before. You were ready to say it. The words were formed. The emotion was real. The logic seemed justified. You had your reasons, your pain, your proof, your list of what had been done and why you deserved to respond. Yet something in your spirit said no. Something deeper than anger said, wait. Something holier than vindication whispered, do not do it. And later, after the emotion cooled, you realized that if you had spoken in that heated moment, you might have damaged a relationship beyond repair, exposed a part of your process too early, or stepped into a conflict that would have swallowed your peace for weeks. That was not luck, that was protection. This is why the warning matters so much. Do not do it, no matter the price. There are actions that feel urgent only because pressure is loud. There are words that feel necessary only because pain is demanding expression. But urgency is not always truth, and pressure is not always permission. God sometimes blocks your mouth because He sees the chain reaction that one ungoverned moment could unleash. You only see the release. He sees the wreckage. You only see the satisfaction of saying it. He sees the spiritual fallout, the open door, the delay, the wound, the confusion, the unnecessary battle that would keep draining you long after the conversation ended. Esther's life reaches a sacred intensity here. She was not simply moving through a quiet season for the sake of waiting. She was being led toward a moment where every choice carried weight. The wrong move at the wrong time could have been devastating. The wrong word, the wrong posture, the wrong attempt to force an outcome could have undone what hiddenness had been preparing. Yet this is what makes her story so powerful for your own. She was not only called to courage, she was also called to restraint before courage. She was called to wisdom before visibility. She was called to timing before declaration. You are in that kind of threshold now. Something in your life may be pressing you to act too quickly. Perhaps it is a conversation you want to force. Perhaps it is a truth you want to reveal because you are tired of carrying it quietly. Perhaps it is a response to a person who has pushed you one time too many. Perhaps it is a decision you are about to make just to escape the discomfort of waiting. But hear this clearly. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. God is interrupting your momentum because the move you are tempted to make may be too expensive for this hour. Psalm chapter 141 verse 3 says, "Set a guard over my mouth, Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips." That is not the prayer of a weak person. It is the prayer of someone who understands how much can be lost through unguarded speech. A guarded mouth is a mercy. A watched door is a blessing. When God stands watch over your lips, He is not diminishing you. He is preserving your calling from your own untimely release. He is making sure that pain does not speak where wisdom should lead. This is where your humility must deepen. Because sometimes the greatest danger is not other people. Sometimes it is your own certainty. It is your conviction that you must act now, answer now, explain now, expose now. Yet the soul can become intoxicated with its own sense of urgency. It can mistake emotional intensity for divine instruction. That is why silence is still your shelter here. It slows you down long enough for truth to separate itself from impulse. It gives God room to reveal whether the thing you want to do is truly righteous or simply reactive. Esther did not break under that pressure. She moved when wisdom matured the moment. She did not let fear rush her, and she did not let emotion control her timing. That is the pattern God is laying before you. You are not being asked to bury your voice forever. You are being asked to trust that God knows when a thing should remain covered and when it should finally come into the light. Until He gives that release, restraint is not loss. It is alignment. It is how you stay under the shelter of His foresight rather than the heat of your own feelings. So if your spirit feels checked today, honor that check. If peace lifts when you imagine saying certain words, pay attention. If caution rises when you are about to react, listen closely. Heaven may be sparing you from a cost you cannot yet see. Comment, I stay still. Then return to quietness with confidence. The God who restrains you is also the God who protects you. What He stops today may save you tomorrow, and what feels like interruption now may one day reveal itself as one of the kindest acts of divine mercy you ever received. Chosen one. The beauty of obedience is that silence is never the final chapter when God is the one writing your life. There comes a moment when the same God who told you to be still begins to stir your spirit in a new way. The restraint that once protected you starts giving way to a clear and steady release. The fear of speaking leaves. The confusion lifts. The timing becomes sharp in your spirit. And you realize that silence was not meant to erase your voice. It was meant to prepare it for an appointed hour. This is where many people become afraid, because they grow so used to hiding that they do not recognize when God is calling them forward. But you must understand the difference between holy silence and fearful silence. Holy silence waits under instruction. Fearful silence shrinks back from obedience. Holy silence protects what is sacred until the time is right. Fearful silence refuses to move even when heaven has opened the door. What God has been teaching you through this season is not permanent retreat. He has been teaching you how to know the difference between a closed moment and an opened one. Esther's story reaches its full weight here. All the hiddenness, all the restraint, all the quiet wisdom that carried her through earlier stages were not leading nowhere. They were leading to a moment when she would have to speak. And when that moment came, she could not remain in silence forever. The same woman who had once been guarded now had to become courageous in public. The same voice that had been restrained now had to serve purpose. That is why silence mattered so much before. It had made room for clarity. It had trained her heart so that when she finally spoke, she did not speak from panic. She spoke from alignment. That is what God is preparing in you. There will be a moment when the burden in your spirit is no longer simply about waiting. It will become about release. Not release driven by emotion, but release born from obedience. You will know the difference because peace will remain with it. There will be weight in it, but not chaos. There will be courage in it, but not frenzy. There will be urgency in it, but not desperation. When God opens your mouth, Your words will not feel like a loss of control. They will feel like the natural fruit of everything silence has been building inside you. Esther chapter 4 verse 14 says, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" That verse carries the sound of awakening. It reveals that there are moments in life when destiny moves from hidden preparation into visible action. Esther had been covered for a reason. She had been positioned for a reason. She had been restrained for a reason. And when the hour came, she had to recognize that the season of silence had successfully done its work. Now her voice had an assignment. You may not yet know what that exact moment will look like in your own life. It may be a conversation you finally have because truth is now ripe. It may be a boundary you finally speak because your spirit is no longer wavering. It may be a testimony you finally share because God has finished enough of the work in private that the telling will now bring light rather than confusion. It may be a decision, a declaration, or a warning spoken with unusual calm. Whatever form it takes, it will not come as a random emotional burst. It will come with the unmistakable sense that heaven has released what heaven once restrained. That is why you must not resent the quiet years or the hidden lessons. They are the reason your future words will carry depth. Without silence, you might have spoken too soon and weakened the message. Without waiting, you might have moved in self-defense rather than obedience. Without hiddenness, you might have sought relief instead of purpose. But now God is shaping something different in you. He is creating a voice that has passed through fire and come out clean. He is forming language that has been purified by patience, by pain, by reverence, and by trust. And when that moment of release arrives, you will not need to force anyone to understand. Esther did not step forward as someone begging to be noticed. She stepped forward as someone who knew the hour had come. That kind of authority cannot be imitated. It is born in secret places. It is born through surrender. It is born when a person learns to keep quiet without losing courage and then learns to speak without losing peace. This is why your story is still sacred even in the waiting. God is preparing both your silence and your speech. So stay close to Him. Let Him teach you not only when to close your mouth, but also when to open it. Let Him train your spirit to recognize the sound of release. The day will come when what was once hidden in you will stand in the light with holy confidence. And when you speak in that appointed hour, it will not be because you could no longer hold yourself back. It will be because God Himself has said now. That is the difference silence has been preparing you to understand. And that is the doorway into the next part of your calling. And when that moment finally comes, you will not sound like someone who is trying to prove a point. You will sound like someone who has been with God. There is a difference between a voice driven by pressure and a voice released by heaven. One strains, the other settles. One fights for recognition, the other carries quiet authority. Esther reached that place because silence first taught her how to wait without collapsing, how to trust without seeing everything, and how to remain faithful while the story was still hidden. That same shaping is happening in you. Every restrained word, every delayed reaction, every quiet prayer, every moment you chose peace over impulse has been building something stronger than you realized. God has not been emptying your voice. He has been filling it with weight. He has not been reducing your presence. He has been refining your presence until your words can stand in the light without fear. So do not grieve the season that taught you to stay still. It has prepared you for the moment when stillness turns into holy boldness. And when that door opens, you will not speak too early, too late, or in the flesh. You will speak in time, in peace, and in the strength that only obedience can form. Chosen one, after all this silence, all this restraint, all this hidden shaping, you begin to understand a truth that changes everything. In the end, your life will say what your mouth was never required to prove. The peace you carry will speak. The doors God opens will speak. The strength that formed in you while no one was watching will speak. The wisdom that now governs your reactions will speak. The fruit of obedience will speak. There comes a point when heaven no longer needs you to argue for what God has already established. Your elevation starts carrying its own witness. This is why the enemy wanted you to speak out of season. He knew that if he could pull you into constant explanation, constant reaction, constant emotional disclosure, he could keep draining the oil from your life. He could keep you tangled in circles that produce noise but not movement. He could keep you proving what God intended to reveal in His own time. But now you can see it more clearly. Silence was never your defeat. It was your protection. It was your training ground. It was the place where God taught you to stand still without losing faith, to remain hidden without losing identity, and to wait without losing courage. Esther's story leaves you with that same holy pattern. She was hidden before she was revealed. She was restrained before she was released. She was misunderstood before she was recognized. Yet in the end, it was not frantic self-promotion that defined her life. It was obedience. It was timing. It was the hand of God resting on a woman who knew when to be silent and when to speak. That is why her story still lives with such power. It reminds you that the person who trusts divine timing never truly loses. They may be unseen for a while. They may be questioned for a while. They may be underestimated for a while. But when God's appointed moment arrives, what was formed in secret begins to carry undeniable light. That is what will happen for you. Not because you forced it, not because you defended yourself with endless words, not because you chased recognition from people who could never authorize your calling. It will happen because God completes what He begins. He knows how to bring hidden things into proper view. He knows how to let the right people see what matters without your striving. He knows how to vindicate the quiet obedience that others misread. He knows how to make your life preach more powerfully than your arguments ever could. And by then, something in you will have changed so deeply that you will no longer crave the old kind of validation. You will not need every person to finally admit that you were right. You will not need applause from those who once doubted you. You will not need to return to old conversations just to prove that God was with you all along. Your spirit will be too settled for that. Your peace will be too deep for that. When God elevates a soul that has learned holy silence, the elevation itself becomes enough. The fruit becomes enough. The transformation becomes enough. The quiet strength in your eyes becomes enough. So let this truth settle over you now. Your results will speak. Your healing will speak. Your boundaries will speak. Your clarity will speak. The way you no longer rush to explain yourself will speak. The way you carry peace where you once carried panic will speak. The way you remain gentle without becoming easily accessed will speak. The way God restores what was wounded and steadies what once felt fragile will speak. In time, even those who misunderstood your silence may look at your life and realize that God was doing far more than they could see. And as this message comes to its close, let your heart turn upward for a moment in prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, cover your chosen one with holy wisdom. Teach them when to be still and when to speak. Guard the door of their lips and calm the storm inside their thoughts. Heal every place where they learn to over-explain from pain, fear, or rejection. Break the need to prove, the need to defend, and the need to be instantly understood. Replace it with deep peace, clear discernment, and unwavering trust. Let their silence be protected, their timing be guided, and their voice be reserved for moments that carry your purpose. And when the appointed hour comes, let them rise with courage, dignity, and clean authority. Let their life reflect your faithfulness so strongly that no argument is needed. In Jesus' name, amen. Hold on to that prayer. Let it keep echoing in your spirit after this message ends. You are not leaving empty-handed. You are leaving with a clearer understanding of why God asked for your silence and what that silence has been building in you. You are leaving with the reminder that restraint is not weakness, hiddenness is not abandonment, and delayed speech is not lost power. It is stored power. It is protected power. It is prepared power. And if this message has walked beside you tonight, you can gently support its reach by liking, sharing, and subscribing, so more hearts in hidden seasons can receive this kind of strengthening. And if you feel led to help support the work further, you can find the donation link in the description. But above all, leave here remembering this: you do not have to force your way into visibility. You do not have to talk your destiny into existence. What God has chosen to protect in silence, He knows how to reveal in glory. Stay steady. Stay covered. Stay obedient. Your life is about to say more than your words ever could. And even now, as this message settles, let there be no anxiety in you about what must happen next. You are not responsible for forcing doors open, persuading every person, or narrating every detail of your becoming. Your assignment is simpler and holier than that. Stay near to God. Guard your peace. Speak only when wisdom leads. Keep trusting the silence that once felt heavy, because it has been carrying more grace than you knew. The God who covered Esther is covering you too. What He has planted in secret will not die in secret. In time, it will rise, breathe, and shine before the right eyes.